Hi everyone and welcome to HR Debatable. My name is Nelly Valinden, I'm your host, and today I'm being joined by two fantastic guests once again, Eric Haugen and Nicolas Zavala. Hi Eric and hi Nicolas.
Hi Nelly.
Nicolas, perhaps you can introduce yourself in a few words.
Okay, I will keep it in a few words, but I can't promise anything. Nicolas Zavala is my name. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the biggest platform for software selection in the Nordics. The name is BUZZWORD. I've been working many years within HR. Happy to share my experience and discuss the topics here today.
Looking forward to it, Nicolas. Thank you. And Eric, perhaps you can also say something about yourself.
I will. So first of all, Nelly, thanks for the invitation. Great to be here. I'm the CEO of Connect My Apps, an integration platform as a service and professional services for software integrations. So we connect everything you can imagine of B2B applications from, a lot of HR, but ERPs and CRMs, files, databases, it's cloud, it's on-prem, it's whatever it might be. All over Northern Europe for the last 10 years. That's what we do.
Nice. Thank you, Eric. Okay, before we get started, let me quickly explain what we are going to do for those of you who are tuning in today to this episode. In HR Debatable, as the name suggests, we debate about various HR and world of work related statements. So what will happen is I will give a bit of context, read the statement, and then both Nicolas and Eric, you can both choose a position, either in favor of or against. Of course, you then get the opportunity to defend your position so that we have an actual debate. And I might take it upon myself to play the devil's advocate every now and then to spark the debate a bit further. Are there any questions?
No.
Awesome. Then let's get started. All right, the first theme today is HR tech. In 2020, LinkedIn was tracking over 45,000 HR tech and HR service vendors on its platform, saying that there are probably many more out there. On average, according to the same LinkedIn article, every employer has around 15 plus HR tech vendor solutions times 2 modules per vendor, which means they have 7 plus vendors to manage. And managing 7 plus vendors is one thing, but becoming familiar with the different terminology they may use and staying up to date with that is another. And that, gentlemen, brings me to our first statement of today. In today's market, there are so many different tools and terms that HR practitioners need a course to understand what's what. All right. So, Nicolas, what do you vote?
In favor, but I have to put in a but there, depending on the size of the companies and where you are in your company development. Are you a scale up or you are depending on the industry as well? So it all depends on the scenario, but we tend to go towards more that you need a course.
All right, so it's a yes, but. Thank you. Eric, what do you vote on this one?
Well, I'm in favor. I think it's definitely needed. People drown in acronyms and different solutions. So yeah, it's a yes for me.
All right, that's a good start to our first debate. Nicolas, perhaps you want to elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, the thing is that, it's spot on here. It's getting more worse out there. I mean, since I started the company in 2019, and I also been in HR tech in 2010, it's just getting worse. It's just getting more dynamic, more options, more acquiring things. People tend out to own their buzzwords, even though it's actually more or less the same as the other buzzword. So what do I mean with that is that it makes it much tougher for the buyer. And the buyer in itself, and I would like to divide it, is that if you are an SME company, then you are more, you're in a smaller pool, but maybe you are in more need of certain type of business values, these type of software solution offering, like system adaptability, integrations, and all of that. And maybe more for the future, since you're going to grow and all of these type of services. Meanwhile, those in the medium-sized companies, they tend to have something in place. higher knowledge, more people, more stakeholders, but even those people are now more adaptable, getting more buzzword in themselves. I heard about this, I've been to this trade fair. Okay. So depending on where you are and the amount of time you have, the more need you probably will need to have like a course, something, a guideline on where to even start. Because that is the thing. Where should you even start in this type of journey?
Yeah.
And that will depending on where you are in terms of size, in terms of how strong HR actually is in your company. Don't forget that part. I've been meeting companies with 400 employees and the 2 people in HR.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Nicholas. I might come back to you regarding something in a moment, but Eric, first, let me go to you and hear your thoughts on this.
Well, like I said, I'm in total favor of the statement simply because, I can only echo what Nicholas is saying. There's so many choices out there. There's so many, like I said, acronyms and solutions and whatever. And on one end, yeah, it's great because you can have an HR department for 400 people with, only 2 people in the actual HR department. Maybe that's because of the technology available. So it's an upside with technology being available. But, I think when it comes to where you are in the size of business or, what the type of business you are in or, what phase you're in, I think it always comes down to trying to figure out what is it that you actually need. And one thing that I find fascinating is that people get very hung up on names and acronyms, and everyone's trying to get a new position about, this application does this application does that. And it's all fancy new areas, and that makes it complicated for the HR practitioner to navigate, obviously.
Yeah.
So, if it was simpler for them to navigate, and maybe you're asking, do they need a course? I don't know, but they certainly need to dig deep into research. And perhaps, I'm sure, Nicholas, they could come to you and ask for advice, what solutions to pick.
Yeah.
But I also think that, it would be interesting also if instead of always the solution providers, the ISVs, the software vendors, always trying to carve out a new niche, maybe they can, try and work together a little bit closer, and maybe they'll make it more understandable for the actual user, and not create a very complicated landscape, which I feel sometimes is perceived to be. And I spoke to an HR director only this morning, and knowing where I'm going, I asked her, and she was saying, the biggest challenge is that there's so much stuff out there, and no solution will do everything, which I guess is unrealistic anyway. But she says the difficulty is to really understand what is it that I should be looking for. So exactly. I think the short answer to the question is, yeah, they need to educate themselves considerably, and of course, that takes time in a busy workday, and it's complicating things.
Yes. Oh, Nicholas, you wanted to reply?
No, I would like to add as well is that out of all the software categories we have on the platform, there are very, very few categories that is so clear that there are so much engagement per unique visitors. So many research, so long time on the site because they don't know where to start. They know that an HR problem, but the list goes very high. The need analysis could get very easy within HR, complicated. And that means their research phase, their need analysis, I will say, is important regardless of what you're buying. But I will say in HR, it's even a bit further, I would say.
And another interesting thing, I think, is, who would people ask? I mean, you're doing research, you're trying to navigate. I mean, it's unrealistic that one supplier will provide all the different tools you need. I mean, we're way past that now, right? Yeah. The interesting thing is, who do they ask? And I would argue that there's a significant chance that an HR person would ask a existing supplier, supplier of system X. Do you know someone that, provides, system Y, Z, or B, or A? And I think in that, there is some significant opportunities for better, maybe tighter collaboration between providers of complementary solutions. That you can actually, provide suites of, good integrated, complementary softwares that will do the different tricks, but they're kind of, helping each other out to navigate and more importantly, helping the customer, their prospects, to navigate better. I think there's a business opportunity in that, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. It actually, I will say the integration. We will soon come back into that.
We'll always get to that. We always end up with the integrations.
Integration it has been very critical, but I see differences in it now. People getting more and more knowledge about it, and I will show you some interesting data further in this call.
I was having a thought actually when I heard both of you speak, and that is maybe a bit of a controversial one though, but do we not simply have too many suppliers as well? Do we not have too many suppliers of HR technology? Because there are already so many solutions out there. As an HR practitioner, it is already very difficult to do that research, to make a selection and to decide what kind of technology is most urgent right now. Are there not just too many suppliers at the moment? Just a random thought here. Eric, I'm going to start with you.
I think no. I think, having the choice is great. Competition brings innovation. There's the law of the jungle. Some will survive, some will not. I think it brings us forward. But again, I'll come back to what I just said. I think they could collaborate, with the complementary solutions that will grow the market for that particular vendor. And it will, help the users, the buyers to navigate further. Because if not, it's an endless research. But I don't think it's a problem that we have many suppliers. I think that's a good thing for innovation.
All right, Nicholas?
No, I will also say no. It's not a problem there are too many. And I would like to divide that question, because what you will probably see now, Nelly, is that 2023, 2024, you will see more companies within the HR tech that has grown on venture capital not make it.
Yeah.
So you will see people who had a product market fit, who actually had a fit in this jungle, they will survive. Those who's trying to find it, they need to hurry up. So 2024, you will see probably not so many popping up as before, and you will see probably downsizing. From becoming the full-size ACM services might tend to be focusing on the part where they actually do the most value in business. So that I think you will see. But I agree with Eric there. It's drive options, it drive innovations, but the numbers of suppliers, I don't see it's the problem. It's the way how they profile themselves and economy to make it more complicated, because the market of HR tech has grown. And also, just to say, in the last 10 years, HR power within an organization has changed. HR before wasn't even on the board in many companies. They were like an administration cost. So IT resources didn't prioritize them, even though they needed technology more than ever, because there were few people managing the majority. But now HR has more power, hence the reason why HR tech budgets are increasing with time. And that means more suppliers want to have part of it, more room for everyone. But I don't see it growing in the same phase as before. And I think, and we soon probably going to get into that, AI will change that space.
All right. One final thought here, gentlemen, before we move on to the next statement. And it comes back to what Eric mentioned about suppliers working more together. And also it comes back to our statement around the different terms that every supplier is using, and that in itself makes it complicated for HR professionals. What do we think about suppliers agreeing all across the board about the terms that they will use, and what does that actually mean? How do we see that? Some kind of, let's say, HR technology glossary that basically every supplier agrees to follow when it comes to offering their products and services. Any thoughts on that? Nicholas, I'm going to start with you this time.
So the question is if we should have that, like a global glossary. I think
it would be nice if we can also give people some kind of solution, right?
Yeah, you're right. So basically like that, we have the typical terms, ACM, HRM, talent management. those are typical three areas divided. Then within that, you have obviously in talent, you can divide, say, remove learning and management software, and they have their own space. It's still HR tech, but they have their own environment. But those three, if we keep it there and really define that very much clearer than we do, then I think that would be a good start. It's always been there, but I've been working in HR tech with Comp and Ben. I didn't even know it before I started business with, and I'm not average Joe then because I work in 8 years within HR tech. So I understood it, but I didn't see the differentiations. So we have like a global glossary now, but since this area has grown so much and the budget grown so much and the needs for, like, let's say take COVID now. It changed the way how we now communicate with each other and do business. When I started 2019 before COVID, I expected to be at the customers to sell. I haven't done that in 2 years. That means that digital solutions like LMS learning management, it could do more digital. And that means that new type of services coming in, new type of technology. So I think in terms of definition, we have it in place. Let's utilize it better. Let's make it more clear. I don't think that we need to do it better than that because I don't think we can stop the buzzword economy now. Yes,
I think that's a valid point. I think, Eric, your thoughts before we move on.
Maybe we can't stop it, but maybe there is let's say, an effect of the consolidation that is likely to happen when VC-backed ventures fail. There could be acquisitions, there could be consolidation in the market, there could be a sort of maturing of the business that we've seen in other typical areas. Now, HR, as Nicholas is saying, has been seeing an immense increase in types of providers and different types of software that can do X, Y, and Z, and everything under the moon. And because money has been becoming more available for the HR departments to invest in IT. So in that, you have lots of opportunistic business and with, the market outlook, sometimes you feel it changes from day to day, but, maybe the Eurozone is going into recession. Maybe Germany is bouncing back. We don't know exactly how this is going to pan out, but I do agree with Nicholas that there's a good chance there's a lot of, VC, early stage businesses that will really be in the clear demand from the owners to either make money or they're going to pull the plug. And maybe with that, you could actually see that this type of consolidation that maybe we could get some cleanup in the forest of all the acronyms, maybe like you would have done in ERP, the accounting world of softwares and things like that over time. So maybe it's just a natural progression. I don't know. And it would make things simpler, I believe. At least, because you see this every day, and it's almost like every week you hear a new acronym, H something, 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 something. Not just in HR softwares, but I think HR software at the moment in particular seems to be extremely vulnerable to new inventions.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, both of you, for this first debate.